All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Just Noise podcast. Today, again, I am joined with my partner in crime, Logan Purdue. Logan, my man, what's going on?
Not much. It's going pretty good. Good Friday night.
Hell yeah, man. I know that you've been watching the NHL playoffs for the Cups. You really excited for that?
I am. I'm looking forward to that. I'm hoping McDavid can finally pull it off.
Hell yeah, since they won last night, so let's keep it
Yep.
going. Cool.
Yep.
Well, anyway, let's jump right into it. Tonight we are joined with our guest. He is a multi-instrumentalist. He does a lot of production and recording. The man can do everything. He can do vocals, drums, guitars, bass. He plays in Rig Time. He plays in Freya. And please welcome our friend Bryan. Bryan, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. And yes, I can do everything. Doesn't mean I do it well, but I try a lot of things. So, but yes,
Yeah.
thank you very much for having me on. I appreciate it. I always get it. I always like when I have a chance to talk about all the things I do. It helps me kind of process and collect like what I actually do because sometimes I am so busy I don't stop and think about it enough.
I
Sometimes
would
you gotta take some
imagine
time to
so.
smell the roses. Yeah. Sorry.
hmm No, you. Uh, yeah. I guess let's jump into it, and I guess let's start out with your early life, like kind of what started you on music and like got you on the path that you're on. I guess what was your early influences to make you want to start playing and get to where you're at. I guess to joining your first band and stuff like that.
So I feel like I feel like I was always behind where I wish I would have been with music and like, or starting to play and being in bands and stuff. Cause like I didn't have my first real band, like real band where we actually went out and played like shows and we practiced regularly until I was like 20 or 21, which is another reason why like anyone who knows Rig Time knows that we play only all ages shows. That's another reason is cause like I couldn't find shows when I was a kid, but that's a whole other story. So when I was born, I mean, every memory I can remember back to like I can remember being 3 years old, but some people think is crazy. Um, but every memory I have is associated with music in some way or another, and I just think of like I know like you can play me a song from when I came out then, and I can tell you where I was or what was going on or what season it was or anything like that. Um, and I was just always obsessed with music. I didn't play any instruments or anything, but then throughout like my childhood, I remember one time like my brother had a guitar for like 2 days until he smashed it just because it was cool or something. But I remember being like, "This is fascinating. I want to play guitar," and then we didn't have one anymore. And but I was always very obsessed with music, and then I used to actually like make my own like mixtapes where I would take like a cassette tape and record stuff off the radio, or then I'd start like burning CDs and things like that, and and then obviously playlists and whatever. But um, always wanted to do something with music or be a radio DJ or something like that. And then I think I messed around with a guitar when I was like 10 again for a couple days that my brother had again. And then he got rid of that one or sold it or something. So
Or
like I
broke it
kept having
again.
it like introduced and pulled away. Uh, but I never took anything serious until I was 13, 12 or 13, somewhere around there. Uh, it's so strange because like at the time I was obsessed with like Hybrid Theory by Linkin Park, and all I wanted to do was like write music, and I wrote horrible like rap rock new metal lyrics about just like I feel it's so real, but like that kind of stuff. And uh and then like I was really like, and I'm it sucks because the singer's a piece of shit now, like, but like I love Stained. I've always loved Stained, and so I was really inspired by Aaron Lewis when I was young, and now I'm like, I fucking hate that guy, and it makes me so mad
Yeah, he
because it's like
sucks.
my heroes have to suck. Like I don't care if everyone else hates you. You made me play music, but
Right.
so I really wanted to get into like singer songwriter stuff because of like Stained and things like that, and so I got an acoustic guitar and thought I could just strum and not hold anything and it would work. That didn't sound good, so then I had to learn how to do things on the frets, and I was very dumb when I first asked my mom for a guitar. I said I wanted a wooden guitar, and she said an acoustic, and I remember saying, "No, no, a wooden guitar." Like I didn't even know what acoustic meant. So basically, I got a guitar, and I have been obsessed ever since. I've never been able to stop. I used to try to quit playing and be like, take a break, whatever. And I mean, I watch TV and I'm playing. I'm like, I spent like an hour playing today before this episode. Just learning how to play Slayer songs that I never learned how to play and trying to play them in three different tunings. So like just weird stuff that I do. Um, and then yeah, so I just became obsessed, and then from there, it's just that's all my whole life. Period. Like I don't want to do anything else. I've never I've never really had a plan B. I've always thought like, oh, I'm supposed to do something else, but it's like, no, I'm supposed to play music. And yeah, then I started playing bass, and then I would start playing drums, and I kind of just played what I could for a while, and just as the snowball effect kind of happened, I started doing it more, and then I joined 1,000 bands, and like right now, I actively play guitar, vocals, drum.
I had a question, like one of my questions kind of towards that was there like you mentioned like that was what you wanted to do. Was there like a definitive point where you were like that made you go like this is what I'm doing, or was it just you kind of, you're playing the instruments and that was just this is what I'm doing like type of thing, it was.
I honestly, I've never thought about that until now, so this is kind of like an epiphany moment. But now you say that, I think like maybe within the first month of trying to play guitar, I was like, this is what I do now. This is what I do. And before that, like I would play video games. Like, so that's the thing about me that people are fascinated with is I do not play games. I have not owned a system since a PS1, and I don't mean the PS1 reissue. I mean like the original PlayStation. I used to play a lot of games, and I just got really bored with them, and I felt like stuck playing like just I don't know, just something about playing them. I felt really stuck, and I started playing guitar, and all of a sudden everything just opened up, and that's all I wanted to do. So I think like once that happened, it was also nice too. Is like I didn't do sports because I had really bad asthma growing up. So like I didn't have many friends at the time. I lived in the middle of nowhere, so I was like, this guitar is my only friend, and I can just write songs and learn all these different genres and things. And um, but I think that that's really as far back as I can remember of starting to play. I just didn't want to do anything else because I know definitely in my early teens I'd watch documentaries and just see bands like hanging out uh backstage or like at a club by their shitty van, and I was like, I want to do that. I want to go hang out where it's like 20 degrees in the back alley of some town in Chicago. I was like, I want to do that. I don't know why, I just did. So
That's cool. uh I remember like watching like old band videos. The Black Dahlia Murder, they had a DVD that they came out with, and it had like one DVD was like all live footage, and then the other one was just like antics and them like cruising around doing being the Black Dahlia Murder, and like that was something that always like inspired me to like I agree with you because like the live performance is cool, but like seeing them bond and like do all their stuff like that was cool for me like
yeah.
seeing that stuff too.
See, I need to watch. I've never actually seen that one, but like I love like the first two. There's Corn Deuce and Corn. What is it? Who Then Now or whatever. Um, but like those two Corn ones, and I used to watch like Killswitch Engage ones,
Yep.
and just a lot of various. But the Parkway Drive one that came with Horizons is like a legendary
Hmm.
one where it shows him like sleeping under the van and stuff. But I mean that especially, I think that DVD has made me go, I need to learn how to tour. So
Yeah, I've always thought that like the live stuff was really cool, seeing like who the band is, and then even just any of the studio updates. It's not as common anymore. Bands don't do that. They
mhm.
take themselves a little too seriously sometimes, I think. So
Yeah, those are that was always what was really fun. I feel like is like you kind of got to peel back because like especially back in the day, like before everything was constantly fed to you the moment it happened. All of a sudden, like you get a CD, and then you're like, all I have is a CD, and I don't. I have this one picture of the band in the CD.
Yeah.
Then you see a video of them in the studio. You're like, whoa, I love that song. That's how they did that.
or you instantly connect with them more after that because now you have like the faces and the voices to put to the music and the live band. So
Yeah, that
Absolutely.
I love the Acacia strain, and I love the DL era of the Acacia strain.
Hmm.
That's like my favorite time. And him and Kevin used to post a lot of videos on YouTube, like in the studio, because they wrote a lot of the albums together. And so that was
Hmm.
cool to like see like the inside of like those two working together and kind of their creative process. Like when they'd post, it'd be 10 minutes of like 5 minutes is them screwing around, but the other five is them talk like working on songs. It was cool like to see that aspect of it. Like I enjoy stuff like that too.
Yeah, it like reminds you. It's like even if it's somebody that you really idolize or look up to, you're like, oh, they're people like me.
It, absolutely, yeah, 100%. So I guess what was your first kind of like serious band that like really got you into going into the touring direction, I guess. What was that?
Okay. Um,
Let's go here.
so I had a couple of scattered. We're gonna practice and never go anywhere, never do anything. And I remember like my first show I ever did was actually half solo acoustic, half I had a friend sing songs while I did acoustic stuff. And then we did some more things where we actually did travel. We did play in different cities and like a couple hours away, and we would do like these like acoustic songs, but then my brother would come up and play drums for like two songs, and like two cover songs or whatever. And I was like, I need to do more of this, but I need to figure out how. And I couldn't find anybody to be in a band with forever. And then eventually I had joined a band that I played bass in just because I found out they didn't have a bass player. And I was like, I can play bass. I'll do bass. And I was in that band for a while. And then I had ended up leaving that band. But from that band, I met my friend Ben, who he and I started a band called Lasting Impression. And he is actually also the current singer of Spread Thin, the other band that I play bass in still. Um, but Lasting Impression was like the first let's go do this type of thing. And we traveled all over. And that was like my first like 11-day tour and 4-day tour and stuff like that. We went out with that band and we did like 4 years of figuring out what the fuck we were doing. Like some of it was really good and some of it was really bad. Um, but it was fun and we learned a lot. And what the coolest thing was is that we actually went and did a showcase, um, which is like a special like performance for Victory Records. So it was like that was probably the coolest thing we ever did. Is like right before we broke up, Victory Records. We had been and talking with them, and there was a guy there who said that he just started working with them again, and he actually worked during like the '90s when they were putting out like Integrity and Earth Crisis and Strife and stuff like that.
Cool.
And he was like, "I love your sound. I want you to come in. You guys are gonna play 3 songs. Blah blah blah." And we did, and we were like, "This is fucking nuts! Like this is crazy." And we went, and I know we killed it. I know for a fact. I felt so good about it that we killed it. And then a week later, he messaged us back and he's like, I really vouch for you guys, but we do everything as a vote. And he said, we're not going to sign you now because you don't have enough tour experience. And I was like, is that it? And he's like, yeah, everything else is great, but you need to have more tour experience. And I went, oh, that's all? Let's fucking tour. And then the band broke up like a month later. so,
Oh shit.
um, so pretty much because I guess not everybody was in that mindset. So at that point, I was like, fuck, what am I going to do? All my musical effort has been used. I'll never do anything cool. And then throughout the summer, I was talking with Rebecca from Rig Time, and we were like on a trip and just like being like, man, what do we do with ourselves? And then found out that she was functional at guitar that I did not know. And I was like, we just started jamming, and I was like, what the fuck? We have something here. I was playing drums, and she was playing guitar, and I was like, maybe we could do something. And then the person who was playing bass for Lasting Impression, we brought him in at the beginning of Rig Time, and we just started as a 3-piece, and our whole goal was let's fucking tour. Three Records told us that they want a band that tours, and I say, okay, well then that means labels want bands that tour. Let's fucking tour. And as of this recording, we have done at least 600 shows in 46 states. We've played in Portugal. We've played in Canada. We're about to do a European tour. We're about to play Canada again. So we stuck to that we want a fucking tour thing. So
That's insane.
That
Nice, dude.
that's
Very nice.
awesome. That's crazy.
but yeah, that's the whole reason when people say like, why does Rig Time tour so much? I'm like, because someone told me that's what we needed to do to be successful, and then we just got a fire under our ass and loved it. So, and we just rolled with
That
it.
that's nuts. Like, I don't know. That would be crazy to. I couldn't imagine that. That's a lot. I guess what's the general like the tour life for you like, I guess. I know you guys have kind of fabricated your van and stuff to make it comfortable as you can for you guys and stuff, if I
Hmm.
remember right.
Yep.
And what's that like for you guys on a general like tour, I guess. The tour life, I guess. And I have another follow-up question to the end of this.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I do like 99.9% of the driving. Typically, so like as you guys know, for anyone who else it doesn't, Rig Time is just Rebecca and myself, and I just don't like other people driving. I'm very much like I get car sick and I get really anxious. So I drive most of the time, and then like we always try to get to the shows as early as we can, and we talk to every fucking person we can. We do our thing at the shows. We are usually the last band to leave, and then we get in the van, and then it's like try to drive wherever we can, and then we pull over on a truck stop, and we have a bunk made in the bed, and we sleep in there. Um, we have it made so that we can actually fit 5 people if we need to, and on the rare occasion where I don't drive very well at night because especially after a rig time set, I am spent. I am no energy, and
I could imagine.
but
Yeah.
when we have like we've had 12-hour overnight shows that we've had to drive before. So Rebecca is better at driving at night, so I'll hop in the bed and hope I don't die. And then she drives until the sun comes up, and then when the sun comes up, my circadian rhythm will kick in, and I'll be like, "Okay, I got this. You go to
And
sleep."
then you know you're still
Um,
alive.
yeah. So I mean, that's kind of like our main thing. I mean, like we do hit up Planet Fitnesses for showers, and like just I exercise and stuff like that as much as I can. Um, I don't know if that answered necessarily all your tour life questions, but go ahead with the
Yeah.
second part.
My second part was you hear a lot of people talk about this like coming back from tours like is it hard because I know you guys do sometimes like lengthy runs and different things like that. Is it hard for you to adjust like going back home like some people talk about or is that a pretty much like a we're back to the home life or is it since it's music 24/7 is that kind of like it's just this is my chance to go home and write type of situation or
Um, to to quote the Acacia strain, it comes in waves. But basically, like most of the time when we come home from tour, I'm like, this fucking sucks. I hate it. I don't want to be home. However, I have a 16-year-old cat that um is, pretty much a teenage son who needs medicine and
hmm
stuff every day, and I have people take care of him. So, um, it's nice to be able to come home to him because that's the part that I hate the most about going when I have to go out. So there's that. But then at the same time, I don't know. I have a problem being stuck in the same place, and I feel like when we so sometimes I'll get anxiety right before we go on a tour. Actually, no, not sometimes. Every time before we go on a tour, because I'm like, I don't know if I could perform. I don't know if I could do this or whatever. As soon as we get to the venue, I'm like, this is what I do, and this is what I do well. I know how to be polite. I know how to set up on, correctly. I know how to talk to the sound people, the promoter, everyone there, and not like in a fake way, not like I've got like a front. It's just like that's where I'm comfortable. And I go,
it's
this
your
is
element.
this is awesome. So um I feel more like me and who I really am when I'm on tour than I do at home. Um, so like even when we played Portugal last year, I was anxious about that, and then as soon as we got there, I was like, "Oh wait, this is just a show. Like it's not different." I'm like, "There's a sound tech, there's a stage, there's people fucking two-stepping." I'm like, "This is just exactly like at home." It did not feel. You could have told me I was in fucking Missouri, and I would have believed it. So,
That's
um,
awesome.
yeah, that's the thing. So like, yeah, like when I come home, it is kind of hard to transition. Um, and I feel like in the past 2 years, like we've just been doing some different kind of things. So we haven't been like on the road 100 days a year like we used to be. We're more like 65 to 70 days a year, which to me, I'm like, that's not enough, but I'm like, that's still kind of a good amount. So yeah, like it can be hard to transition, but it's only just because, like I said, I just love it. I just love touring.
Hmm.
Um, I always joke with people that you're not a real touring band until you set your gear up on top of someone's washing machine. And I say that because like anyone who does DIY touring and plays house shows knows what I mean. But I feel like I've done both. I've played like big stages and outdoor stages and nightclubs and house shows and things. And I just have a very deep love for just kind of that DIY hustle of things. And even if, we got to a point where we're fucking hate breed level or something, I would still always find a way to just book like secret house shows if we had to or something, because it's not like a band like Hate Breed can just go play a house show. It's announced. It's gonna fucking break it's gonna like
Yeah.
explode. But you know what I mean?
Actually,
So,
I think the first time I ever met you was playing a house show. We played at Dylan's in Mason City at
oh
the at
yeah,
his
yep.
in his basement,
With the
And
little like 1-inch stage and the sound system all the way in the back.
yeah,
Pianos, yeah.
I'd
The
never
giant speakers taking up 2/3 of the stage. Yeah,
uh-huh.
chilling.
Yeah. I had never
Man,
didn't even know that was the first time I ever met you guys or like heard of rig time and like in the basement and like that. It was cool to like see just in such a tiny intimate venue and then seeing it in other stages. I don't know, it's something, yeah. I'll get to that later on, but yeah,
well,
the
thank
live
you.
performance is crazy. Yeah.
So, given all that, and talking DIY, at what point did you start your adventure into audio engineering and recording yourself, as opposed to having to go through somebody else? I'm curious.
Uh, Pretty much almost as long as I've been playing music in general. So when I was 14, I had got a really horrible old computer that um had I had what I get? I got like a there was like I had to put a fucking CD burner in it, like type of thing. It was that old. And when I put one in, the software that came with it, there was a recording software, and I was like, I can do that? And I used to just take my guitar and plug it into the microphone jack, and it was the worst, most horrible tone ever. And I know this because actually a couple weeks ago, I found the first recordings I ever made. I found them backed up on like a little flash drive, and I
That's
could not believe
awesome.
it. The very first thing I ever did multi-track recording for, I found, and I actually, not a lot of people seem to know this, but as I was messing around, I found out that if you plug headphones into the microphone jack of a computer, the left side of the headphone will work as a microphone. So I used to take like over the ear headphones and put them inside the hole of my acoustic guitar, and I would just play and record like that.
Just
So
catch the left side of it.
yeah, like I should have been
That's
doing black
crazy.
metal records because I had the talent.
Right. Had
But
it
like
dialed.
yeah, so part of it was like I couldn't find a band and I couldn't find anybody when I could find people to play like who didn't want to do what I wanted to do. Like I'm like, "Hey, you need to play like fucking Slayer drums." And they're like, "No." I'm like, "Ugh." So fine, okay, I'll learn how to do it. So then I started learning to record, but also learning how to play other instruments because I was just like, like, oh, well, like Trent Reznor can do it and Dave Grohl and Prince and all these different, famous people. I'm like, they can do all these things. They did whole records by themselves. So that's why I started doing that. And then I've always done it. I'm not gonna say I'm any good at it, but um, I've done, like the last Rig Time record, like I engineered that. I did all the engineering for Spread Thin and Getting Over and stuff like that. And I'll be doing it for pretty much everything. But I'd say in 2020, especially, I had downtime and I said, okay, but it's time to get serious. It's time to get some grown up mics. And I have like a studio space that I use now. And um, it's weird. It's like I love it and I hate it, where I don't want to do it. But then when I have worked with other people, I'm like, oh, I kind of wish that they would do it this way and they don't want to do it
Mhm.
this way. So I have a picture in my head and a sound that I want to hear, and that's what's nice about doing it on my own is like because I use real mics and I use real amps and I use room sounds, and I got real interested in that because I had a lot of friends who were really good at doing just like Superior Drummer and programming drums and things like that, and I'm like, well, I wanted to record real drums like say a decade ago, and I didn't have any friends who did it, and I was like, well, maybe I need to get better at that. So I started getting interested in mic placement and things like that, and that's what I prefer to do. As I am a tracking engineer, um, so I have some friends here that I recorded uh, two things with, and I'm going to be recording their next one called Thunder Goat. They're from Wisconsin. They're like a sludge psychedelic doom band, but they loved the first thing I did with them so much they came back and they told me that they want to keep working with me. And but all I tell them, I'm like, I track. I'm sending it out for mixing. I'm not doing the mixing. I was like, I track, but we will get the good shit as raw as we can. Uh, so yeah, that's pretty much again another long answer, but as long as I've been
No,
doing it, and it's just because I'm always in a constant pursuit of tone, and I think that's just the most important thing. Like like I mentioned, like I watched a lot of Corn documentaries and stuff. Like if you listen to like, I got especially the first Corn record, but I think really on Life is Peachy, I fucking love the production. I love the production because you can hear, like, especially in the drum breakdowns, like you hear like the dirty sounds that sound. It's like perfect imperfections of the
Hmm.
where the snare rings and everything like that. And I'm like, I don't want to always hear something be like a perfect like triggered
127
drum,
velocity, or
type of thing. Like, and I like that kind of stuff, of course. But like sometimes I'm like, I want to hear just a nasty drum kit,
hmm.
but it's just like, or a big fat natural one. So
Yeah, I definitely like the analog sound that you guys get. Listening through a lot of the spread thin tracks, I enjoyed, and you did the tracking for them, so I enjoyed those quite
yes,
a
thank
bit.
you.
They
I'm
sound
very
very
proud.
raw and very real.
Thank you. I'm very proud of that record because I had a vision, and we had Will Hurst, who he's the drummer for Restraining Order, and he's recorded like Mind Force and Soulblind and stuff like that. He did the mixing and mastering for that, and he's fucking awesome. Like he's really great to work with. He did the Rig Time Reborn as well. But when we did the Spread Thin album, um, the final result we got was pretty much just what I had, just enhanced. Like it was, I was like, this. I like the sound we have. Just make it better. Even it out.
Hmm.
Um, and like even like it's crazy is like I actually did the bass tracks for that album, all 9 songs in less than an hour, and I fucking ripped them out, and I was so proud of myself because I just sat down and I was like, all right, I'm gonna get this. And like a lot of times people tell me like they love the bass tone on that album particularly. And yeah, like I said, it's all real amps and real drums and everything. Even the or the kick drum, like we took a long time to get that like really ticky treble that's in there, so it cuts through. And yeah, I'm very proud of that record. So thank you.
Yeah, I enjoyed it quite a bit. I just want to say I met Alex once years ago.
I'm
My band
sorry.
played at the
I hope he
so,
listens. Fuck you, Alex.
I met him once years ago. He was a really nice guy. It was when he was doing stuff with Misadventures, and we played at the
Hmm.
warehouse. So that was
Hell
really
yeah.
cool. Is that where you guys tracked? Was it the warehouse?
No, I did that. Where did we track that? Or I guess we did at that point when that was around. So I had a space that I had used in there, um, but yeah, for the most part, like now, so like my new space, like we started doing some tracking there. Actually, we will have a new spread thin record, hopefully within the next, well, definitely within the next year. But we already started writing 3 songs. We've been doing some tracking there, and I'm really, really stoked on that. And with that band as well, the other thing, like, what's fun about that band is we're literally just, it's just all of us are like best friends. So it's just a friends band. Um, they started it, and then it was exactly like that other band I was in, where I was like, they were like, they needed a bass player, and I was like, well, I can play
Nice.
bass. I got a bass.
I got this.
Uh, yeah, so that's what happened, and then we had a different friend um, who was originally going to be the vocalist, and that just didn't work out. And then we got Ben, who sang on Lasting Impression, because he's one of the best fucking vocalists I've ever met, know in my life. Period. Like his range is outrageous. Like on the Spread Thin record, we were like, "Hey, this is like power violence influence, so it's like do some barking stuff." And he goes, "Okay," and he just does that. But like he just showed me some stuff he's doing with his friend right now that is like tech death fucking deathcore stuff, and like he has just the full range. He can do all of it, and it's
I would
insane.
love to
So
hear that. That's
yeah,
crazy.
like it's fucking killer.
I'm a big fan of the spread thin stuff too. I love the power violence. Like I love like chaotic genres. My favorite is like mathcore. So like I'm into the chaos, and I
Me
love
too.
the drumming on that. Like I love the sound of the tone and everything. Like
The
it's
fucking
crazy. I think it's really good because I feel like on a lot of that genre of music, the drumming gets lost in it and it replaced by a drum machine, and then you're able to capture the tone, so it's just perfect. Like even the blasts and stuff are just it sounds good. Like there's
It really
nothing
caught
is
me off guard. The blasts were
no,
really tasteful and cool. Sorry, I
thank
yeah.
wanted to
you.
throw that out there. Yeah.
Tristan is a fucking phenomenal drummer. He's the best drummer I know. That's why he plays drums in every band I'm in except Rig Time. And he tells me he can't play Rig Time, which is funny because he plays stuff where I'm like, how the fuck do you do that? And he's like, dude, I can't play Rig Time though, because like I'll say I'm a terrible drummer all the time, and he's like, you're not, because he's like, you write these fills that he's like, you don't play fills like other people. So he thinks that I'm a good drummer because I write weird shit, but then I think he's a good drummer because I'm like, I can't do your shit. Um, but yeah, with that, like we have like we actually did map out stuff. So I'm very particular on using clicks. So we don't want to stick to one tempo. So like the song Factory Job, that song's like a minute and a half, and there's actually 7 different tempo changes in that song. And we just let it follow because some of the stuff that we write, or he would actually present drums first, and then we'd write around that. And so
Like
we all kind of,
Robinson.
yeah. So yeah, we kind of just like all
Sorry.
contribute um, a little bit at a time, and kind of, hey, I got this, hey, I got this, and whatever. But yeah, he tries to write really creative parts and stuff, and he's really into a lot of bands like Magruder Grind and Sex Prisoner, and just a bunch of like, I always call them white ink on black T-shirt bands. So stuff like that, which is I'm in those bands. I like that. So but yeah, no, he's awesome. That's why he plays in Freya, he plays in Getting Over, he plays in Yellowfin, he plays in Dare to Be. He and I have caught one, which is not active, but literally every band I'm in, I'm just like, Tristan, you're playing drums, because I will tell him, I'll be like, hey, your kick wasn't good, you got to fix it. Like I'll flat out, and he'll be like, okay, and he just does, and I'll say, that Phil, you can do way better than that. And he'll go, okay, and that's where a lot of those crazy fills comes, because like he'll do something, and I'm like, no, you can do better. And we'll spend like 45 minutes just like on like a 2-second fill, and then I'll go, oh, that's it, and he'll go, okay, I got it, and then he keeps it and he plays it perfectly at shows and stuff. Like it's a really good relationship, because people might hear that I'm like, what, like think I'm being harsh to him, but I just know how we work, and he's always helpful of it, and I know, like, I feel like he's probably would agree that he's gotten better because I'm blunt, type of thing. But I expect people to say the same to me though too. If I'm not doing something good, I want them to say something like, "Hey, do that better." So,
But helps you guys capture the sound you want. So like I think sometimes that's kind of stuff's needed. Like in the studio, sometimes you need that extra kind of push where it's like,
Or even just a homie
okay,
that you trust, telling you like
yeah,
at a show, like I can't hear you, bro, or like you need to, yeah, anything.
that's a joke that we always do with Brenton. Actually, is Ben always says to Tristan, he's like, "I can't hear your snare because the snare's so fucking loud." Because he has like a, I don't remember what it is, like a Mapex like steel snare, but it's loud as fuck. We'll just be like, "Yeah, it was all right. I couldn't hear the snare." And Tristan's like, "Shut the fuck up." And we do that all the time in our group chat too. So hopefully, on the next record, we can actually hear the snare. It's not my
Yeah,
fault, just
hopefully.
because he wasn't hitting it. So
that's awesome.
I did have one other question kind of pertaining to that. So with Rig Time, exploring your discography, is there a favorite engineer, mix master person that you've gone through? I had one particularly that I wanted to mention that I thought sounded really good, but I was curious if you had a favorite that you'd gone through that just gave you like really good results, or it's one that you revisit.
Well, with Rig Time, originally, I recorded the first 2 things we ever did that I've done my best at hiding because they're fucking dog shit garbage. Um, and we put it out on some CDs stuff, but like it was just demos when we started. And so I'm my least favorite mix mastering engineer for Rig Time so far. Um, but then after that, we did 2 records with Bricktop Recording in Chicago, and we worked with Pete Grossman, who's fucking awesome and super good. And I learned a lot of things as well, just the way that I engineer, the way he did as well. And he did the tracking and the mixing on those, and then we had mastering through Audio Siege, which is Brad Boatwright, who does everybody who has white ink on black shirts. So that type of thing. And then we did a single with Griffin, the bass player of Acacia Strain, Griffin Landa. We did that song called No Faith in 2009. And shit,
In
what else did we do?
2009?
Or sorry, 2019.
I was like, holy
2019.
shit.
No. Yeah, I'm stupid. Anyways, so that was 2019. Then in 2020, my brain got messed up, and let's see, I did. So that was the first time we worked with Will Hurst, because we did a cover song of a Dry Kill Logic song for it was like a BLM Bandcamp uh fundraiser kind of type of thing, and they wanted to do a bunch of new metal songs. So they asked us what to do, or asked us if we want to do one. So we did a Dry Kill Logic thing, and we tracked that, and I sent it over to Will, and I thought he killed it. And then I had done a mix master for a really shitty Misfits cover, which people like, and they played on Sirius XM, so that's kind of weird.
Hell yeah, dude.
But I don't think it sounds great. I think the song is cool, but I don't think it sounds great. But people like it. But it was meant to be dirty. I'm like, the original's terrible. So, and then we did another thing where I tracked and did with Will on Reborn, and so I would say between everything that we did, I mean, Reborn is my favorite overall by far. And I think that's most bands are just going to do that and say that anyways, where everybody will love their one record, but you know, they're always like, play the one from 20 years ago. So
You guys have changed, bro.
yeah, Reborn is damn near perfect to what I wanted it to be because there was a lot of real room shit. Like fucking, we layered 8 tracks of close mic guitars and then a stereo left and right. So actually 10 tracks of guitars on that. And I did some like really big live room things. And it just, you know, I feel like from that, I learned that on the next record, I'm going to fucking destroy it because I know I'm like what I want to do and what I don't want to do.
You have your formula kind of dialed
so
in
I mean,
finally.
I really, I love everyone we worked with, but I feel like that's my favorite. But you said you had an opinion. What's your opinion?
Well, not an opinion that because well, an opinion, but not that anything that you said is incorrect.
Tell me what sucked, God damn it.
I really enjoyed No Faith. I've recorded with Griffin myself.
Mhm.
I listened to that one multiple times throughout like my cycle. I was just like, I got to go back to this one. It just sounds really big, and so does the new stuff
you.
too. I think in one of your descriptions of one of the new songs, you said this was recorded with way too many goddamn mics, and that made me laugh.
Probably. No, thank you. Yeah, I just saw Griffin because we played Milwaukee Metal Fest on same day as Acacia Strain a couple weeks ago, and I saw him and I was like, hey, do you remember me? And he was like, oh yeah, and whatever, and we kind of talked about that we did that stuff, and he said he's not like tracking really much anymore, which is kind of a bummer. But yeah, he did great. It was like we went in and one thing I really liked about that I'll say that I took as a positive thing from him is that was the first time we went to a studio and we used all of our stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And every other time we had recorded or anywhere, it was always like, oh, let's do this. So we went in and Griffin's like, I was like, what do you want us to use? He's like, use your stuff. I'm like, oh, we can do that? And we went in and that was like pure us. And then and it was just the two of us. It was just Rebecca and I, because that was when we first transitioned over to officially being like, this is her and I, and only her and I, and we're going to be two-piece forever. And we felt like we had something to prove. So when that song came out, that was like our like, hey, this is us now type of thing.
The bass tone was huge on that track.
That's
Yeah.
the shit she uses live. That's not even a bass guitar. That is her guitar.
That sounded awesome. Oh, that was her guitar doing the. It sounds like bass portions.
That's not a bass guitar. That is her guitar. The same type of, well, actually it's better now, but that was when we were still like it's an octave thing. So like it's still like her guitar dropped an octave, but with all the stuff dialed in and whatever, that was our tone. And I remember being like, I've seen the Acacia Strain live several times. His fucking bass tone is amazing. I don't know how the fuck you can make a bass that low sound that fucking good. And I was still saying Milwaukee Metal Fest a couple weeks ago. Yeah, when they were sound checking a couple weeks ago, I was like, Jesus Christ, like how does he still do this? It's like it's so good. But I remember very, very specifically, and I felt very proud of it because he knows his shit. She was playing, and he goes, sounds like a bass. That sounds fucking good. He's like, damn, let's just do that. And I was like, whoa, it impressed him, and that so I was like, okay, we're on.
You fooled me.
Yeah. So thank you. Yep, that is a guitar.
That's awesome. So I have a question, Tut, since you're kind of talking about older material. Is there any of it that you would love to go back and like retrack and redo just for the fact of like getting it redone because what you've learned now and applying that type of stuff now, like looking back?
In reference to the dog shit stuff that I'm hiding from everybody, or the
no,
stuff
no,
that's
not
released
that.
older?
Some stuff that's kind of that's
because I will say this: there is a song on the dog shit stuff that I fucking like. I'm like, those lyrics are awesome, and I think they're great. And I'm like, but that song is so boring, and I don't know what to do with it. So I'm like, I feel like it'll just be lost to time. So there is a song off of War that we still play live every now and then. That once we went to just be the two of us, originally we used to have when we had bass players, they would do I wrote like a harmony to go with her guitar 'cause she's playing like these crazy ass, like, well, not crazy chords, but she's playing like these big old chords and stuff and moving around a lot. It's not like just straight power chords. And then we had like the bass do a harmony with it, and then we stopped playing that song when it was just the two of us. And then one day I was like, wait, I could probably do that harmony on my keyboard, on my synth board next to me, because I run an analog synth while I'm playing drums. So I play that while I'm playing drums and singing, and it's like not that hard for me at all. Like, I fucking love doing it. And that's the coolest thing, is like it's not a struggle. I can just sit and do it with my eyes closed, and it feels so nice. So it's like
You're
really
brushing your
fun.
teeth.
Yeah, like I don't know why, but it's not, sometimes we don't
beast,
want to
dude.
play
That's
certain songs
crazy.
because I'm like, oh, it's too hard. Like, it's not going to feel good or whatever. But yeah, we try to like put that in our set all the time. And we've thought now, I'm like, maybe we should do that as like a B-side or like an extra thing, is that when we do our next session for the album, we've talked about just re-recording it, just because we're like, that's such a sick song, and like the synth sound that I use is cool. And it's just little things that are different, not much, but um, yeah. So like that one is probably there. But otherwise, uh yeah, we have 10 songs for this new album, and we've been switching them in and out for like way too many years. And the problem is that like everything feels like, I have some that are like, they're perfect. They're exactly what we are supposed to sound like. Everything we put out now is not what we're supposed to sound like, is how it feels compared to like these other songs where I'm like, oh, we finally locked into like, this is the rig time sound. And uh, and yet I still haven't recorded the album, because I get like, we recorded a couple weeks ago actually, something that we were trying to do, and then I said nope, it's not good enough, and I'm like, we're starting over. So
Hell
I
yeah.
have that problem.
But that's cool though, like by tracking yourself, like you have that control to like be able to determine like this is not what I'm not doing this. Like
Yeah,
I like that aspect of
yeah. And like, we're
it.
I'm not blind to the fact that like it happens almost every night. Like, it's an every night thing where somebody comes up and goes, man, like, I saw you guys were a two-piece and I just didn't think you could sound good. And then I saw you and holy shit, like, you guys sound like five people. And I mean, that's an every night thing. I cannot stress that enough. People say that, and I appreciate it. So then, but then I think, I'm like, okay, that means that anything we do needs to be fucking good, and it needs to be perfect, and it needs to be
How do
on
you
par.
translate that to the recording type of thing?
Yeah. So when we
Yeah.
play when we record, we refuse to record anything that we can't do live. So like when people listen to the record, they go, "Oh, they can't do that live." Yes, we can. So like Reborn is like, anything we take out, we go, "Well, that's too hard. What else can we do?" So at least we can recreate it, type of thing. So
That's really cool. Was there any like major challenges when you guys went to like being a two piece that you like really had to like, that was kind of, I don't know, that some adversity going to that two piece instead of from the three piece? Was there any big challenges moving that direction?
yeah, I think we were the biggest challenge, like our own thoughts, because Um, so the way it happens, like, we always just were like, oh, we're gonna be a three piece, whatever. And like our first bass player, he's off doing his own stuff right now, and he's doing great. It just didn't work. And then we had some like other people kind of fill in, and we had another like sort of permanent bass player, and he's still a good friend and everything. But like 3 days before we had to leave for 2 weeks of tour, he just was like, I can't go. And I was like, what the fuck are we supposed to do? And I remember I spent a whole day. I didn't say anything to Rebecca because I was like freaking out. And I was like, I got to figure this out. And I messaged 10 people from all over the country. And every single one of them was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. And I was like, what the fuck do I do? And so I went and told Rebecca, I was like, so I don't want to tell you this, but he can't do this. What do we do? And she said, I don't give a fuck. We're going to go out and do it with just the two of us. And I was like, that's how you feel? She's like, yeah, we don't need anybody else. We can do this. And I was like, let's go. And I was expecting her to be like, oh,
Mhm.
we got to quit or we got to cancel or whatever. We're done being a band or something. we've fucking ever since then, like we turned the knob up. Like that's where we realized we're like, oh, this is how we're supposed to be. So that first part, it was 6 days, and I think we came home for two, and then out for like another week and a half. And the first 6 days, we had no clue what we were doing. We did a 6 song set, and we just tried to work with what we could. And when we played, though, we didn't think it was. We just did like the riffy songs, so we didn't do any of the cool like just bass and drum parts yet because we didn't know what the fuck we were doing. We had a day to prepare, and
Right.
so when we were doing that on that tour, almost every night, people came up to us again and said they were like, "Hey, I know you probably don't want to hear this, but you guys sound way better as a two piece." And I was like, "No, no, 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 we don't. Like we were a three piece, you know." And we were still thinking that that permanent bass player was going to be a permanent bass player. Well, anyways, he ended up never actually like coming and doing anything ever again. And by the time it came to, let's see, because that was like in August, and then that year is by the time like October came, we were like, he's not coming back. Like, so we started to figure it out. We were doing shows at two piece, and uh, little liner note here. We set the day we decided we were like, this is us. This is what we're doing now, and it's never going to be anything else. Was the day we wrote Euroboros, which is the first track on Reborn. It's like a 1 minute song, and that's what that's about. We wrote that song together as a. This is our. That's why the whole thing's called Reborn. Is like because we're reborn. Like we're like this is the beginning now. We're going to restart this band as to what we're supposed to be. And so we wrote Euroboros just as like an intro, and then we added words eventually, and then put it on the record, and that's what that's about. So I don't remember why I
That's
talked
really
about
cool.
any of that. Did I answer a question?
Yeah, you did. You did.
Okay, cool.
100%.
Thanks. I told you I could talk way too fucking much. So
No, you're totally fine. It's awesome. I wanted to, I guess, let's change the topic from rig time for a second here. Let's jump to Freya. I know they've been a band for a long time. How did you come about getting into that, getting into them, or joining that band?
so just a little background, Freya. So Freya started in 2001 by three members of Earth Crisis. It was Carl, Eric, and Ian. When Earth Crisis had split up temporarily, they went and started a band called Nemesis, which ended up becoming called Freya. And they were on Victory Records. They did stuff. They had some lineup changes, whatever. They toured Europe with like Walls of Jericho and shit like that. I can't remember who else, like Sworn Enemy, I think, or something. Just a lot of crazy stuff. But they used to be on like MTV and all that kind of stuff. And um, then Earth Crisis had got back together and started doing some stuff. And some of the guys are still involved with Freya, but like Freya was just like it's a group of friends, essentially, who still kind of come and go or whatever. And there was different writers and so on and so forth. And then as the years went on, a lot of these people just are family people and have a lot of other bands and whatever. And it's just kind of went up from different members or whatever. Well, anyways, Freya put out a record 2 years ago called Fight as One. It fucking rules if you haven't listened to it. It's a really good fucking record. It's metallic hardcore. There's some slow stuff. There's some bangers. There's some two steppers. Whatever. Um, and to basically like we work both Freya and Rig Time work with like the same manager who's been assisting with stuff, and he was talking and it was like, hey, would you want to do some shows with Freya? And I was like, Freya, like, oh, that Freya, like, absolutely, that would be fucking crazy. And I didn't think anything of it. And then all of a sudden, one of the members of Freya hit me up and was like, yo, you guys are fucking awesome. We want to do some shows with you. And I was like, oh, I didn't know this was really going to happen. And they were like, hey, we want to go out and do some stuff. Would you want to do this? And I was like, yeah. I was like, did you want me to book it? They were like, yeah, that's cool. I was like, I mean, some of it might be DIY and all ages stuff. Do you care? They're like, no, dude, let's fucking do it. That's what we want to do. And I was like, okay. So I went and booked the Fight is One tour. It's a 10-day tour. And we went and did that. It was fucking awesome. And we did a mixture of like, we did like a house show, but we did like nightclubs, like the Foundry in Cleveland and stuff like that. So it was like cool because as I'm getting to know these people, I'm like, these guys are hardcore. Like they're real. They're in it for the right
Would
reasons
you?
because
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And like, sometimes you don't know with bands that have been around a while. You might think that they have a stick up their ass, and they're like, "I fuck, where the fuck is my brown M&Ms?" Type of thing. And 'cause I've met people like that. It's not cool, but not anyone with Freya. So, um, we did that tour. We became really good friends. We stayed in touch. Then there was talks of Freya going to Europe, and one of the members was not going to be able to go do a European tour. So they were like, "Hey, would you want to play?" And then I was like, "Yeah, I could do that." And they were like, "Well, would you do it like could we do like Freya and Rig Time? Like, would you do both?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll fucking do that." So that was in talks, and then skipping ahead, um, basically Freya needs some other permanent members, just to keep active and stuff like that. And so Rebecca and I came in, and um, really, really long story short, again, we did a tour where we did like Rig Time and Freya together, and then uh, now we're pretty much in like the forever lineup, which is what Carl likes to call it. Um, and just like we're really solid. We talk all the time. We have 10 songs written for the new album already. So like the next Freya album is like some of my favorite fucking songs I've ever written in my life. And I mean they are like these riffs are like there's no filler. There's no bullshit in there. But yeah, I guess I'm really, really shortening up this story. But basically,
No, you're
it's
good.
just some other people. Like I said, they're the other members. Everyone's still good friends and everything like that. It's just that other people have other obligations. And Rebecca and I are fucking crazy. And we were like, "Well, that European tour we're gonna do, sure, we'll play Rig Time and say thanks and stay on stage and play Freya because that's what we're doing. So we're
That's
doing
gonna
that
be
for
awesome, though.
20 days across Europe. And and then Tristan, so the drummer of Spread Thin, is also in Freya as well now. And it was just
I
kind
was
of
going to
same
ask
things
that. That's
yeah,
cool.
we had some dates going, and Tristan had to come in and fill in for some things, and it clicked. It was just me and Carl, Rebecca, and Tristan, and it fucking felt solid. And we just did a 4-day run again with some dates with Exhorter, and it's just like it just feels locked in. It feels so good. Like um, it's a lot of fun, and it's really cool uh, for me as well because like so like with Carl, Carl Beekner, the vocalist of Freya, and he's still the vocalist of Earth Crisis and stuff like that. Like I've told him as well that being straight edge, being into hardcore, all these things, I wouldn't have been able to find these things if it wouldn't have been for the work that he and his peers all did. Period. So I like Freya is like he loves Freya. He loves this band to death, and he wants to tour and he wants to be active and stuff with it. And now Freya can be. So even when Freya was quiet for a while, it was just a logistics thing. And now we're willing to go out and do whatever we can do. If we're going to tour the fucking world with Freya, then we're going to go tour the world. And I tell him that it's like I'm very grateful for all the things that he did to help shape my life. So this is like me being involved with Freya is also like my like gratitude and saying thank you for all the stuff you did for me and all my friends. And now I'm gonna fucking play these riffs perfect next to you, and we're gonna go fucking have fun. So
That's a really cool full circle type moment too.
yeah,
Yeah, that is really awesome. I had I had a couple more questions here. Bouncing back to Rig Time, I guess. I wanted to go
Mhm.
back to Rig Time. Sorry, change subjects here again.
no, it's fine. Big
Uh,
time's always my baby. So
all right. I just kind of wanted to like dive in a little, I guess. What's your like writing process with that? I mean, I know it's just you and Rebecca, but like, what's your approach to that? Because I know a lot of it is like lyrically seems personal, I guess, and I know you've talked about that somewhat on its social media and stuff. But I guess what's your whole like kind of writing process to putting it all together?
it's kind of crazy. I feel like everything with Rig Time is 100% like authentic, nothing forced at all, and that's why we're taking so long to put out a new album is because some of the stuff that I think like didn't last, like that we wrote, I was like, no, we forced that. That's not good. Next, and lyrically, everything is every single Rig Time song has a story. I could tell you where I wrote it, why I wrote it, who it's about, who it's not about, whatever. Like you could just pick one, and I have a story. Like, there is no like story lyrics. I mean, like I write things in metaphors and stuff, but there's no like, well, this is a song that's not about something. Like, no, they're all about something. And
It's real life
um,
experience.
yeah, very, very like it's all very personal and stuff. And that doesn't necessarily mean like private when I say personal either. So like if there's a song you're curious about, Clean, which is people always want to ask me about Clean, and like yeah, like I'll talk about it. Like read the lyrics. Like I didn't hide anything.
No,
Um,
you didn't. I've
yeah,
listened and read multiple times. Like. I
Yeah, and
totally
like,
get what it's from.
like it says like my father died in a hotel. That's not like a fake line. That's real. My dad died in a hotel and so did my brother. Like that's why I wrote that stuff. Like I wrote that song for me as like my way to just like process something on a certain day. Like I mean like
Absolutely.
I wrote it actually in a park. I was traveling over by the UP and I think it was in 20 yeah, it was in 2020. So like originally we were going to put out an album in 2020 and then we decided to scrap it and Clean wasn't written. And then Clean got written and I was like I think I need to put this song out. So that's when we did Reborn. Uh I was up by the UP where my brother used to live and I just driving around and I had never like I that's the only reason I think of that area is cuz like he lived up there at one point and it was just like a lot of stuff was just like going through my head and I was like god, I haven't been up here in so long. And then I remember Rebecca like went to like use the bathroom or something and I just sat down and just started writing it and it just flooded out of me for whatever reason. And then she came back and I was like, you gotta wait. I don't know what I just wrote, but I need to write this. And then yeah, I think we went back and I think there might have been a song already that was like in the works that I was like, I think this would fit with it musically. So sometimes it's just the lyrics and then the music comes, or sometimes it's the riffs. Like there's no real process. It's just like it's so sporadic. It's so
It's a natural flow, and
yeah, yeah.
I like that. That's really cool. That's
Sometimes too,
cool.
like she'll like just play something for like a second, and I go, "What the fuck was that? Do it again," which I think every band has those moments. So
Yeah, absolutely. And then my last thing I wanted to touch on was uh, the Hate 5-6 video. I thought that was really cool. I've watched those videos for years, so like I
Mhm.
thought that was really neat that you got to do that. I guess kind of what was that experience like? Brandon and I were talking about this because he's not familiar with the band Crafter. I believe that was from the Crafter
Mhm.
like farewell tour or show, right?
Yep, that was their final
Okay,
show.
yeah. And so I thought that was really cool. Like I didn't know that you guys played that show until seeing all that and stuff. So that was really neat to like see for
Yeah,
me.
that was a lot of fun. So like we built a whole tour around that show pretty much because um I always told him like so I think compared to like Q from Cincy, like we've probably played more shows with Crafter than any other band, and we did like a full West Coast tour with them, and just a bunch of other things. We did out to Florida, we did some runs together and stuff, and we were just good friends. And I always told them like, if you do a final show, like you fucking know we have to play, right? And they were like, well, yeah, we'll hit you up. And then they hit up like 9 other bands too. So like that was a day. Um, but when it was happening, I remembered that they had 2 sets that were filmed by Hate 5-6 before, where Sonny actually went and posted like a thing about like how incredible Crafter was, and he was like, "You need to listen to this band. This band is just as good as Have Heart or something." I'm hearsay, but that sort of thing, like. And so then I remember saying, I was like, "Hey, you should just hit up 856 and see if he come film your show." And one of the members was like, I doubt it, but I will. And then he messaged me like 2 days later. He's like, yeah, Hate 5-6 is coming to film the show. And I was like, I fucking told you. So that's the funny thing is that like I was the one who told him like you should because like he fucking loved your band. Don't you remember that? So yeah, he came out and it was really cool too because like I remembered, like I watch all his videos too. It's like we all do. And I remember watching him film us and he was like moving with the camera left, right, and side to side and like really into it. And then I went and said thank you afterwards too. And he told me, he's just like, I had so much fun filming you guys. He's like, that was really cool. He's like, I was really getting into it and stuff. And I took that as a compliment because it's like, he could just be bored as hell of doing this stuff now. So it's like if our set was to give him a little bit of energy, I'm like, cool, then we win. So
Yeah, that's really cool. Like yeah, like you were saying, like just the different things like he's done over the years. It's just nuts, and then it's cool to
yeah,
have your name in that same ring of the,
that
same
was
ring. That's really cool. I
we've
think it's kind of
we
like an honor, I guess. I would
Well,
view
it
it
is.
like
Yeah,
that
it's a
for me.
checklist thing. It's a
Yeah,
checklist
hundred
thing. Like
percent.
that was one of our things where we're like, we always make these goals since we started this band, and then we reach them and we're like, oh fuck, that was weird. Okay, well let's make new goals. And we keep making new goals. So now I'm like, now we have even more. Where I'm like, just things that we're like, we got to do this, and then we did. So, and I think the last time I looked at that video too, I don't think there's a single like negative comment on there. Maybe not even a thumbs down, which I thought was really weird. I'm like, that's weird. Like, must just be all my friends watching it or something. So I felt
I
really
watched
bad.
it
I
again
thought we'd
today
get
at
like
work.
torn apart. So
I think it's great. I watched it again today at work. Like, I don't know, just re-listening to it is it's really cool just to see, like, especially knowing you and like, and then like we were saying, like it's a checklist thing, so it's really cool, like knowing somebody that like actually got to do that. I mean, I don't know, it's pretty neat. Like, it's just a cool like thing
yeah,
for
well,
me.
thank you. Yeah, it was. It definitely feels good to have in our resume and be like, that's why I look at everything now. Where I go, once we do something, I go, we did that, and I know that, and no one can ever take that away. So
Absolutely.
I'm like, yeah, it's just like it's a helps you feel successful about just the things you're doing, and I feel like success is just about like feeling good about what you accomplished and how you accomplished it. To me, so
100%. Yeah.
Definitely got to take the time to, look back and remember things before it's too. You got to appreciate that that goal was achieved at that time, attained, and then, like you said, move on to the next one. But also, it's that sense of satisfaction knowing that you got some closure, you did something, you accomplished it. So, yeah.
Before final thoughts, I have one
no,
more
we need
stupid.
another hour. I have
I
so much
have
more to say.
I have one more like kind of off the wall question, just because I know Brian's a wrestling guy. Then
Hmm.
I kind of am. I love the Hulk. I don't know if you can see I have a ring worn Hulk Hogan boot up above my head up
Oh, the
here.
boot, yeah.
Yeah, I have one with COA. It's pretty cool, but whatever. Uh, so all the thing going around the internet was a few weeks ago, 100 people to versus the gorilla. My hypothetical is if you got to clone four wrestlers, so you got 25 of each of them to take on the gorilla, what are your four that are going to win? This is wild. I'm sorry, it's stupid, but I had to. You
Okay.
said off the wall. Let's do
So
it.
so four wrestlers to help me take on the gorilla,
And there's
There, so
but
25 of
cloned.
each wrestler.
yeah,
But there's
you're gonna
25.
take
Okay.
yeah, you gotta pick four wrestlers and you're gonna clone them, and you'll have
Okay,
25 of
but I'm
each team
still
for your
okay.
100.
Well, I'm gonna I'm gonna start with Mick Foley because he doesn't feel shit.
No,
So
not at
the
all.
gorilla ain't gonna fuck with him. It's just he's gonna keep coming for it. So, oh boy, this is
Mick
scary.
Foley, Mankind, and just all Mick Foley's.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Cactus Jack and Dude Love. There he goes. Actually, that would be okay. Oh, dude, see now, like I can just ramble and ramble, and now you're like, come up with four. Okay. Oh, this is hard. This is super super hard. Because like I don't want to just give like the basic answers too of like, like I
25 of
say
the
Right.
Stone
great
Cold,
Khali's would take down a
but
gorilla.
no, I feel like Kali would just stand there and look at the gorilla and not do anything, and then like trip or something. It'd be like, oh,
Not
can we get him
agile.
out of here? So, um, God, oh, this is hard. I don't know. I have to
Most
give you an
curveball
answer though.
question of all
I
time.
have to give you an answer. This is so hard.
You don't
Oh
have to. You can get back to it if you need to.
no, this is bullshit. I should be ashamed. I'm ashamed of myself. This is just like I want to give it like really good like thought to it. Like, oh,
Who
ask me
knew
another
that
question.
this is my last one before my final thoughts. This is why I saved it for the end because I was like, this is the most ridiculous one I have.
Sorry, Braun Breaker. I'm throwing Braun Breaker in there for sure. Braun Breaker, Mick Foley, and we'll come back. But anyway,
Okay.
The other 50 to be decided.
yes,
Hell yeah. You answered some of them in the process, so it worked out.
yeah, and I ended on a total dud. You should
Uh,
never. You should just delete this all. I ruined the
delete
whole thing.
that.
I'm sorry.
We'll try this
You're
again
good.
another day. Well, cool, man. Did you have any final thoughts, any questions for us? If you don't have any, questions or anything, this is your time. Drop any plugs. Let us know what you got going on, man.
Um, once again, like I said, Rig Time and Freya are doing Europe all July. Rig Time has two Midwest shows coming up in Rochester, Minnesota, and Evansdale, Iowa, which is like near Waterloo. and then we're doing Detroit, then we're doing Toronto, and then we're doing Ottawa. Then we drive home, and then 2 days later we fly out to Europe. And I'm super stoked because like we're kicking off with Eperfest, which is like No Warning headlining, and that's fucking cool. And then yeah, we're gonna be playing across like 9, 10 different countries, and then we come home, and Freya's actually gonna be back up in Canada in September. Working on a Rig Time record, working on a Freya record. I have 10 songs for both of those. Spread Thin has 3 new songs. Yellowfin has 10 songs. That's like my shoegazy indie rock band. Technically, I have Getting Over songs I haven't released that I should. Dare to Be has songs that I should release that I should. Like, I have a lot. I'm a dumbass. Like, I have way too much music. It's not cool. So, just full circle is like what happened when I started playing guitar. It just never stopped. It never stopped. I don't want to do anything else. I want to play music. I want to tour. I want to carry my Ampeg by myself. I want to play basements and I want to play big stages. I want to tour Europe, but I also want to like go do free shows in backyards because I just love what I do. And if you don't love what you do, do something else. Don't torture yourself and don't torture anybody else. Like, I hope that that's the one thing that people get from any performance or any music that I put out is I hope that they can see that I genuinely love what I do. And I just try to be as honest and transparent as possible. And I try to also like, everything that we earn, we always try to ask ourselves if we're earning it because of our hard work and that just not doing anything shady and stupid, because there's a lot of people like that. So I'm usually really honest about that. So I always tell people at the end of shows, I say, be a good person. Just be a good fucking person. I say that a lot. I just stop and I go, be a good fucking person. Like it shouldn't be that hard. I don't think it's that hard. It's like not everyone's perfect, but your actions don't affect just you. They affect everybody around you. So just think about it.
I agree with you.
That's all I got.
All right.
Who gives a shit about me? Just being a good person. So.
Yeah. Treat everybody like you want to be treated. So
yeah. And also drink water. For real. Like
and wear deodorant at shows.
Yeah, well that too. But like drink water. You need more water than you think. Like you really do. So you should drink at least 90 ounces of water a day. I encourage you to please do so. All of you. Both of you. I will be checking your water intake next time I see you.
I'm very on top of that.
I don't know if they have like little strips to check your water intake, but we will be doing that. So
I'll be reviewing the house cameras and I'll be getting back.
We'll be doing a urinalysis and I will be returning it to the doctor and we will you will not be getting paid from any shows until then. So seriously, look at this big ass water bottle.
Yeah, dude, you've been chugging. So
my final thing, I kind of had something like here because I don't know, like you guys are one of my favorite like live bands to see. So like something I wanted to say is like I think people that if you love heavy music, like they should experience Rig Time like 100% because it's something that you'll not experience it any other way. Like what you two capture sonically in real time, like it's pure like raw emotion, but like there's purpose to it and you can feel the like conviction behind like what you guys are doing lyrically and musically, like you believe what you're doing. It's not just, and like I feel like you portray that through your live performances very well. Like I don't watching you play, like anybody that sees you play live and sees you doing drum samples and doing vocals, like it's something to see just by itself. And then Rebecca playing the bass and the guitar parts, like it's awesome. Like I think something everybody should see if they love heavy music is they need to experience Rig Time for sure, because there's nothing like it, and I think you guys do amazing at capturing that.
Thank you very much. Because
you're welcome.
Sometimes I tend to have imposter syndrome where I'm like, I'm an idiot, nobody likes me, and
no.
Nobody gets what I'm doing type of thing. Because like, I mean, every band will have their haters where people just don't want to get down with it because they're different or something, and sometimes it's like we're not hidden from that happening either. So I appreciate that very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Absolutely. I will tell anybody that for sure. Yeah.
And to drink water.
Yes.
Yes, and drink water.
But that's
People
my
say
final.
that they love watching me drink water during shows. That's a real thing. People have told me that watching me drink water in between songs is like part of the Rig Time set. They're like, how much water is he going to drink? Every time I suck down like half a bottle and I'm like, not enough. And yeah.
Need more. You're doing so much though. Like, I don't know. It'd be insane. You need a Camelback.
I need more things attached to me and on my
Yeah.
head. And
You just need some IVs run into you while you're playing.
people ask, like, sometimes people will think that we have backtracks, and I'll be like, no, we're 100% live. I'm like, I'm not putting shit in my ears. I'm like, I got enough going on.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine having that too.
All
But
right.
all
You
right.
guys got anything else here tonight for us?
No, I'm trying to zip it up so you can go.
No,
So.
you're good.
I was like, just sit and be quiet. Let him finish. So.
We don't got nothing left. So, all right, everybody. It's been another episode of the Just Noise podcast. Thank you so much. Check out Rig Time. Come back every episode, or every Monday, and join us for another episode. Thank you so much, everybody. It's been Just Noise.